Good afternoon, it's Saturday afternoon. That means it's time for the E-Racing GP Global Edition, round 4 of 6 that we've got in this match between simulated racers and real-time racing drivers. We've really enjoyed bringing you the circuit so far. Alex Young is the architect of this series, so Alex, let's briefly talk about what's going to go through today and the big prize at the end of it for the whoever wins the GT3 racing later on tonight in the final at 6:30.
Sure, Des. Okay, so we're at round 4 of 6, so we've just gone past halfway in the championship right now, and we're trying to match, obviously, some of the top class drivers from around the world with the best sim drivers in Asia Pacific. So that's been pretty cool. We've seen some pretty good racing, and it's great to have you with us again. We're at Zhuhai in China, Zhuhai track this weekend. Track that I like a lot, actually. Lots of good racing there as well. And like you mentioned, Des, there is a prize. Obviously the prize to be called the best in Asia Pacific first global edition, but also you will win a test with Black Arts Racing. Black Arts Racing is arguably the best single-seater team in Asia at the moment, and you win a free test with them. And also the best young driver aged between 16 and 20 also wins a test, so that's pretty cool.
From virtual to reality is the tagline that you use, and that is exactly what the prize is. That's a bit later on today. You've split the guys up into 2 major categories. You've got the amateur drivers, as you're calling them first, and that's what we're going to be looking at first, GT4 racers. Now, many people are asking, what is GT4? So we've put together a couple of videos just to guide you through what GT4 is. This is one of the races based upon last week's events that were on the Dubai track. All ready for race number 1 of the World Touring Cars. It's round 3 of the amateur series of the global edition of E-Racing Grand Prix. It's a good start for Sim K Wern. The sky blue looks very, very secure as he leads the way from Gilbert. Anger's got himself into P2, but a solid start from championship leader Sim K Wern. Bit of contact behind them. Gilbert goes into P1 ahead of Sim K Wern. That's an interesting start as Sim tries to retake him on the inside. Behind him, Tenku John Lay is just looking for any mistakes behind them. This is a battle of nerves right in front of us. You are wheel to wheel there. Gilbert ahead of them. Who can get the lead going into this sharp right-hand corner? Corner number 10 will be taken by Tenko Janlei. Just able to hold off Sim K Wern. Really aggressive racing.
He has the inside though for this next corner. They touch. He has left enough room though for Tunku at the exit though, so that's still a fair move. Well, that's not. Yeah, great race from Gilbert. Held off a lot of pressure in the first couple laps from John and Kai1, but did a really good job. Pulled out a big gap at the end as the 2 cars behind him fought. He'll be really super happy with that. His first win in the RGP, and what a win.
He will pick up 25 points for that. Ko on pole, Escoto second, Jay Chong third, and Calvin Ha in P4. We are underway. What kind of a start have we got? Way from the outside. What a start that is from Nazir Azman. Nazir, we can see him. Alan Escoto currently in P4. Calvin is just about holding on. Behind, there's all kinds of contact, but Calvin able to hold on. Jay Chong has got himself up from P4 into P1. Henrico 3 and Shengguan into P4. Wei Xiong in the Honda for Malaysia. Fastest time of 2:09.848. Not lapping particularly quickly. Henrico is leading the way. Gilbert currently in second place, and Calvin has dropped off the grid. This though is the race leader. Gilbert comes through to take the checkered flag. Back-to-back points, maximum race points for Malaysia's Gilbert. Henrico from Singapore in second. Aquino Tio will pick up 3. Hao Shengguan able to hold off the challenge of Aquino for P4. Nazir Azman holds off the challenge of Flynn for P6. So that was last week's coverage. Gilbert with a race double. See the format that we're operating there. You've got a full qualification followed by a regular grid start. Gilbert won that one. Then you have a reverse grid start for race number 2. Only the top 10 score points in that. What's your thinking behind that kind of racecraft, Alec Young?
It's very good because, you know, we don't normally do reverse grids in real races because it's a safety issue. A lot of faster cars trying to come through. It's not a safety issue in esports though. So we like the reverse grid races because drivers, you know, even if you start at the back and you're quite quick, you have to be careful in how you thread your way through. So racecraft is far more important and how you attack things. And that's kind of interesting, seeing all the drivers, their different approach to that. Because the real life drivers tend to be a bit more aggressive, whereas the sim drivers are a bit more patient. Because you can also overtake in sims, whereas real life it's hard to overtake because you lose downforce behind the car in front of you. So seeing the different strategies, but we also have to manage very carefully how they drive because we can't allow any hitting of other cars off the track and that sort of stuff. So we have to be quite strict. There needs to be a lot of respect amongst the drivers as well, and it's quite normal that if a driver does get taken out, that he'll return that favor later on.
For the neutral amongst us, we love all the contact, Alex. But also, it's worth pointing out that last week, the drivers had the opportunity to race in touring cars.
Yeah.
And normally, they're racing in GT4. They're back into GT4 again this week. It does make a difference to the drivers because even if you're in the sims, the behavior of the car replicates the car that they've chosen.
Absolutely. I mean, the GT4 cars, the weight balance is more similar to GT3 cars, and the rear-wheel drive as well. With the touring cars, and that's quite tricky. Some of the drivers struggled with the touring cars last weekend because it's front-wheel drive, all the weights at the front, and the racing is also more interesting because you can do small little taps in a GT4 car and you can get away with that. But in a touring car, if you tap someone in the wrong spot, you spin them instantly because all the weight's on the front axle and there's no weight on the rear axle, so they can get turned around very easily. So again, this is not just how you drive it. The racecraft is slightly different with the touring car.
Okay, the man who is leading the championship after 3 rounds is a young Malaysian called Sim Wern. Just to show you a little bit about what it is behind the scenes, we're seeing the overall picture of the race itself, but the individual drivers see something very different. Let's go behind the scenes with Sim Wern.
Hello everyone, my name is Sim Wern. I'm team boss and driver for Blue Steel Racing and one of the participants for GT4 ERGP race room. And we aim to be one of the best competitive teams and to help newcomers to experience sim racing. And our main goal is for us sim drivers to become a real racers. Right, see you guys later.
Yeah, Sim Wern is leading the championship, but he did struggle in the touring cars last week. He'll be happy to get back into the GT4. We're on board with practice just at the moment. We'll talk a little bit more about the Zhuhai track, but practice is very important because the guys don't have an awful lot of time during the week to get used to the cars and to get used to the circuit, Alex.
Absolutely, so the good thing is with the lockdown, a lot of these drivers have a lot of time at home, so they do get to practice quite a bit. Zhuhai is not the hardest track to learn. It's a fairly simple track. There's not too many different kinds of corners. You have to be good on the brakes, have to be good on the acceleration. As we're watching Kai Wern at the moment, who was just in the video, boss of Blue Steel Racing. He's driving a blue car as well. Few drivers from Blue Steel Racing racing in GT4 and GT3. So yeah, he's doing a good job. But back to the track, yeah, it is. You can see right now there are a lot of straights, so normally makes for good racing. It's not the sort of track I want to drive every day because, like I said, there's only one kind of corner, these slow hairpin sort of corners. But like I said, it's good for racing. But for now, why don't we follow Sim Wern? He's second quickest at the moment. Let's see if he can get right up and beat Gilbert, who's quickest at the moment. So coming through the last corner now. Third gear up to fourth gear straight away on the exit. Some guys will try and run with fourth, but really third gear is a better choice. Now up to fifth gear, up to sixth gear. Braking just before the 100. Whoa, that's really late in a GT4 car. These cars do not have the sort of downforce as a GT3 car, so to break that late is pretty impressive. So Kai Wern nailed that turn 1, I would say. Turn 1 and 2. This is considered turn 3, flat out, not really considered a corner, except in the wet. Then braking the 100 again for turn 4. You try and carry a bit more speed through turn 4 because it does open up, and see this, you can use all that curb. Maybe use a bit too much curb, I'm not sure if that will invalidate this lap. then through turn 6 here, now braking for turn 7. Turn 7 is the slowest corner on the track. Some cars go through here in first gear. I would say Wern went then first gear because he's up to second straight away. Now this is long straight again. This is a very favourite overtaking as you go through this right hand. Turn 9 coming up. You often see cars diving down the inside here, trying to catch drivers around out of where. Very hard to go around the outside here though, so you have to dive down the inside. Now GT4 car should have lift through turn 10. Yeah, sounds like he had a lift. In a GT3 car, it's just about flat through there because they have the extra downforce. Now down to turn 11. Again, another hairpin. You can get in the power quite early here because it does open up a bit. Wern goes for the late apex there. Seems to prefer that line. I've seen drivers go for an earlier apex, so you kind of have a few choices of how you want to drive that lap. Now down to the last few corners. I think the last corner is turn 14. Yep, fastest corner on the track. Third gear. Yep, up to fourth just at the exit. Nice lap by Wern, but he was a bit wide at turn, turn 4, so I'm not sure if this lap was invalidated or not, but he's just behind Gilbert in first.
Yeah, Gilbert has shown that last week was no flash in the pan. A double victory in Dubai. He's got the fastest time in practice so far. There's just over 3 minutes remaining in the practice session. Simke Wern, he hasn't got a victory to his name so far. 3 second places, so he's been on the podium regularly, collected points, although he did struggle a little bit last week. This track though, if that circuit is anything to go by, looks like it suits him. That 14th corner, you whiplash around it to take you into the main straight. You get that right, you can get up a lot of momentum coming into the home straight.
That's absolutely right, Des. That last corner is very important, and it's the quickest corner of the track, so you get used to a rhythm on this track where it's all slow corners. Brake, down the gears, rotate the car, early on the throttle. But then you come to the last corner. The last corner is you have to be, okay, it's a fast corner. You third gear, fourth gear for some drivers. And it kind of floats through that corner. You have to use the curb at the apex. You have to use all the curb at the exit. It makes a big difference to the lap time.
Just to give you a little bit of context, let's have a look at the overall championship points as they stand. We've shown a lot of Simke Wern, who is still in the shot. He is the championship leader with 89 points. He had a tough weekend last weekend. He only picked up 16 points in total, but it was good enough because Chris Vazaratner, who is in second place, has only competed in 1 series so far. Gilbert had a nightmare round 2, did really well in Dubai. He's in P4. Mohammed Nabil, who's in P6 at the moment on 47 points. He's another who's only had a single race. So you've had a couple of races who've come in and done really well and then dipped out. But the likes of Oliver Aquino, Johnny Flynn, Hao Shengguan, Seb Togulo, and even Jan Lei, they still got to reckon they're in with a chance because they've consistently picked up points. And one of the good things about this, Alex, is that you are able to actually throw away one of your rounds in the overall championship standings.
That's right, Des, and I think that'll really bring Gilbert into play. So at the moment, Wern's way out in front, but when you consider drop points, Gilbert is right up there as well. So there's still a lot to play for. Those two are definitely out in front, but it'd be a good battle for third position, isn't it? Aquino, Johnny Flynn, Shengguan, and Seb. Seb's looking quite quick as well. I think he'll be a force to reckon with this weekend. Further down, let's have a look at the entries for GT4.
So the entries, obviously Simke Wern and Shahrazan Hassan, who'll have a chance. Gilbert nice to see him here. Let's look a little bit further down on the other side. We've got a couple of debutants, James Russell, Kim Yang, Yevon David and Antar Boyan. Welcome to you four guys. A couple of others who haven't been able to pick up many points, like Joaquim Garrido and Jay Chong from Malaysia. We've got racers here from Macau, from where's Kim? Kim's from China. Our first Chinese race, Rico Dutois, coming from Vietnam. So you really have put together a full international field here, Alex. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, I'm really loving all the different nationalities. Antar is from Bangladesh and actually studies here in the KL, so I know him. Yevon David, he's 13, based out of Singapore, very good karter. And some of the other guys. Oh, James Russell also joins us. James is from Stratos Motorsport. He's the team boss there. Stratos Motorsport is one of the best karting teams in the region.
So we've given you the overall standings. Practice is just down to the final few seconds or so, and then we go into qualification, and you're pretty generous with the amount of time that you give the guys to actually put a lap time in to get themselves onto the grid, Alex.
Yeah, it's plenty of time. Now they come for qualifying. So qualifying's 8 minutes for GT4, 4 minutes for GT3. So GT3 you really only get 1, maybe possibly 2 laps. But for the GT4 boys, they'll get a few laps here. So we watch them as they come out. That's Jae Chong as he starts his lap. Track maps not quite working at the moment, but as they go through the last corner, see him start a lap. Let's watch Gilbert though. I think he'll be favoured for pole position if we can. Coming through the last corner, Gilbert in the BMW, the orange BMW that he prefers. He had great pace in the touring cars last weekend, picked up a lot of points. Let's see if he can keep that pace here in the GT4 cars. He's one of 4 brothers that go racing in the Ang family in KL. I think he's number 3 in that order, and very good driver indeed. He's been doing some touring car racing as well in Malaysia and Asia the last couple of years, and I know he's planning to try and do TCR Asia this year, when of course the movement control order is lifted, if it does get lifted this year.
Don't say things like that.
Yeah.
But the movement control order is very in. Gilbert seems to be attacking this lap. He's once again late on the brakes. That sharp right hand. It's a strange old track because there's 14 corners, but only 4 of them left-handers. You're constantly turning to the right, and then suddenly you've got to do these 90-degree left-hand corners, which really do test the upper body strength.
Yeah. Here's the first one of them. And Gilbert's purple at the first sector, so he's looking quite good for pole position at the moment. Now we're coming towards the end of sector 2. It'll be interesting to see if that's purple as well. And we'll see where that goes. Now this turn, what turn is this? This is turn 11. It's called 11 to... Oh, Gilbert, no! Whew, is he enough time? Well, that's okay. He's got enough time to do another lap. Obviously, there's enough time. Let's go down to see some of the other drivers out there.
Well, there's a great example there of, even though he looked like he was on a really good lap, how easy it is just to lose the back end sometimes in these GT4 cars. We're on board with Kamil Rauf now, one of the Malaysians who, again, has been a regular competitor. He's picked up points in all 3 rounds so far without getting close to being on a podium. But he's been consistent throughout the season. And at the end of the season, Alex, that could be enough to get him a high placing in the overall championship standings.
That's true. Let's go on board with Sev Tagulo. He's second quickest at the moment, and he's only 1/10 off pole, so he knows if he can just squeeze a bit more time. Oh, his car wriggles under braking. Oh, he misses the apex. That's going to cost him quite a bit of time. I'll be very surprised if this first sector goes purple or even green. Yeah, there he is. He's 2/10 down on what he did, so that lap time's gone away a bit from him, so he's going to struggle to do that. Johnny Flynn here from Singapore. He's gone a bit faster in sector 1. No, he's still a little bit down. Hao Shengwan, let's see what he's doing now as he comes through. He's also a bit down. Let's look at Gilbert because he started that lap earlier on after that spin, so he'll be determined to try and produce a lap time. As he comes through this last corner here, just come down the start finish straight. Let's see where he goes after his effectively his first lap time.
Hao Shengwan currently has got the fastest qualification time. Has Gilbert been able to beat it? The answer is no. Maybe he's just coming in for the first time.
Yeah, he must have had another mistake. He must be restarting this lap again because he's not set a lap time. So he's had to restart that lap. Let's follow him again. See if we can get a bit closer to Hao Shengwan.
You are generous with the qualification time. In the GT3, you're allowing just effectively 1 lap. But we're seeing here Gilbert is taking full advantage. Hao Shengwan currently fastest, Tagulu second, Johnny Flynn from Singapore third. Sim K Wern, he's currently in 4th and Cho in 5th. Gilbert, how's he driving at the moment, Alex Young?
Looks okay. Hasn't missed that. I thought he was going to miss that apex at turn 4, but he managed to get around it. Maybe he did because his lap time's not coming up. So if he's missed the apex and he's gone wide, then he would have had a track limits issue, and that's going to cost him some time for sure. So this lap does not look like it's been registered at the moment. Let's look at Kai Wern here. He's about to start another lap as well. One of the few drivers that are not in a BMW. He uses the Porsche. This is a multi-make championship, so you can run other cars. So a few of them are in a Lotus, Porsche, what else is there? But most people, I think 1 or 2 in the KTM times, but most people prefer the BMW. So Kai Wern, he's able to make the Porsche work, that's for sure. Let's see him come through turn 1 now. Nice and clean, uses just the right amount of curb. Let's go on board with him, shall we?
He had a really good start to this season. He came second in race number 1 and 2 and 3 of the campaign, but then he had a nil point in race number 2 in round 2. And then in round 3 last week, he qualified very quickly, came 4th, and then another nil point. So consistency eluding him in the last round or so. But here, he looks like he's got the line just about perfect. Leaves the braking nice and late once again. Hits that nicely. Looks a very nice drive at the moment, Alex Young.
Yes, he is. Gilbert has just gone second quickest, but that lap's been invalidated, I think. Oh no, it's still
He's been given a time.
Yeah, it's been given time.
Yeah.
But Wern, he's just gone green in the first sector. You can see he's up a 10th. He's effectively 2/10 off pole at the moment. So if he can find a bit more time, this could challenge for pole position. Comes through turns 9 and 10 here. Oh, that looked good. Turn 10 looked good, actually. So I think we might see another green sector. Question is, will it be a purple sector? Because if it's a purple sector, then he'll be looking very good for pole position. Coming to the end of sector 2 now, we should see. This should be the end of sector 2 now. Yeah, well, he is green.
But he's only just outside, putting 0.19 outside. Pole position is within his grasp.
Oh, I think he nailed that last corner. That last corner looked pretty good. He was on the throttle nice and early and carrying lots of speed. Will this be good enough for pole position, Des?
Sim Wern goes into pole position, 0.0101 ahead of Hao Shengguan. That's a great lap by Sim Wern. Championship leader is looking as though he really wants to take the game to Gilbert. Gilbert had a brilliant weekend last weekend in Dubai with back-to-back victories. Currently, Gilbert is P3. Hao Shengguan, credit to Hao Shengguan. He had a podium place in race number 1 in Wern, but since then, he struggled a little bit. So Hao Shengguan, best position that he's had so far in qualification, if he can hold on to P2. Time is running out, though, for Gilbert. He's in the final minute. Will he have enough time to finish this lap?
Well, it's looking good. But I tell you what, the top 10 are covered by 0.6 of a second, Des. So that's how close it is. Drivers really coming on in this class. Oh, Gilbert purple in sector 1, purple in sector 2. This looks good for pole position, Des.
And he's just about in time as he whiplashes around corner 14. Takes the curve very nicely. Gilbert speeds his way through. I'm sure it'll be quick enough to take pole position. On board with Gilbert on pole position at perfect timing. Nobody else out on the circuit. Gilbert last out on the circuit, gets himself 5 additional points ahead of Sim Wern. This is going to be a battle royale between those two, but it's not only the front guys we're really interested in. That's a decent performance by Seb Tagulo and Johnny Flynn and Joachim Garrido, Henry Coe and Yevon David in P13. Good performance from the Bangladeshi.
Wow. Good job from Sri Lanka to Yevon David. He's only 13 years old. Good to see him there up there. So now we go straight into the race, Des.
Sorry, got my flags wrong there. Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. I do apologise to both of those nations. Okay, on to the race itself. We are following pole position, which is round 4 of the e-racing GP series. It's the lockdown edition, but the global edition. Amateur racers, we are just about ready. 30 seconds to go. On pole position, Gilbert alongside him, the championship leader, Sim Wern. Quick prediction, Alex Young.
Well, it's going to be about the start. You can't overtake here, like I said. I'm going to say Wern's going to do it and get his first win of the season.
Let's see if that is. We have got the red lights are on. Wern on P1 and 2. Shengguan and 3. Chio got himself up into P4. Third row, the gate, Jay Chong and Tagulo. We are underway, breaking out from behind. Shengguan has made a terrific start. He's got around the outside of Sim Wern, and Wern's had a poor start. Gilbert is off very, very nicely. Chong has got himself temporarily up into second place. Cho's now second. Chong into third, but a disastrous start for the pole sitter. What happened to Sim Wern?
Yeah, so I think he got caught up in somebody else's accident. It all started, obviously, with a bad start. So he got swallowed up by the field. His cars are everywhere. And then I think someone tagged him and he went off for the first corner. So, cars still going off. We talked about this in the driver's briefing. This is the thing about Zhuhai. When you've got such heavy braking situations, it's very easy to get the this sort of incident sort of happen. So they have to be a bit more careful. Cold tires in this game, you don't realize it, but cold brakes, cold tires. So everyone has to watch these first couple of corners.
It is a 15-minute race, though, so there is plenty of time to try to make sure that you can recover from an incident, but not if Gilbert Ang is setting the pace as he is. We're on board here now with Akina Tio. He's another of the BMWs. BMWs 1 through 9. The best of the non-BMWs is the Trois, the Vietnamese racer in P10. But Gilbert Ang, as he's 6,000 revs, slams the brakes on. Comes out down this right-hand side. Akina Tio, who hasn't really impressed so far, or had a chance to impress so far. He is here at the moment. I do apologise. Akina picked up a podium place in the last race in Dubai. So Akina is also a man running into a little bit of form. They come round corner number 14 for the very first time. Quick first lap. Gilbert Ang, he was on pole and he leads through the end of lap 1. Akina Tio, Jay Chong and Graham from Malaysia, making Malaysia 1, 2, 3, 4, Alex.
Yeah, with Yevan David from Sri Lanka in 5th position. He's had a great first lap. Was able to stay out of the trouble in those first few corners. Wern down in 17th position. Wow, he's got a lot of places to make up before he can get back into the points.
Hao Shengguan, who was on P3, is currently in P21. He has obviously been caught up in not one but 2 incidents. Gilbert Ang has stayed out of any danger. He's got himself very, very happily into P1. I'm looking at Simke Wern. Where is Simke Wern? He's 17 at the moment in the Porsche.
Oops. Akina runs a bit, just misses the apex there, but he's nicely in the slipstream. Think about this track. With these long straights, you can get quite a bit of a benefit from the slipstream, so you don't want to lose touch with the car in front. And if Akina can keep doing what he's doing, he will be able to put some pressure onto Gilbert Ang a little bit later on in the race.
Akina Tio, the gap is very, very tight. It's plenty of overtaking areas here, though. There's a couple of very, very quick corners as Gilbert Ang comes down one of these long straights. A little bit of psychological pressure being put on by Akina Tio. We've not really spoken about Tio, but he raced very, very nicely in race number 2, the reverse grid race last week. And here in round 4, it looks like he's really putting the pressure on, along with Jay Chong.
Yes, he is. Let's look at this midfield battle. Sev Tagula looks like he's been in the wars. A few of these cars look like they've been in the wars already, obviously from that first lap. But behind Sev is Kai Wern. So Kai Wern's made a few positions, and he's coming into this midfield battle.
Kai Wern currently in P14. Tagulo in 13. He's the man we're on board with just at the moment. Right behind him is Simke Wern. There is Tagulo. Let's come a little bit further forward. This is the battle for Sharizan Hassan, who's being consistent in the championship. No podium places for him, but he's P3. Big problem there for Wei Xiong, who's going down. One mistake can cost you 5, 6 places so easily. Big battle here. Yevan David has a big move. Currently in P5, the Sri Lankan. Aggressive driving there on the back of Shahir Hair.
Yes, it's quite good. They've been side by side for quite a bit of time now. As they come through. Now we're going for turn 7. Oh, he covers the inside. No, Yevan Davis. Oh, the little tap there. That's moved him a bit wide.
And David may lose 2 places. No, he doesn't, because Tutois in the Porsche is pushed backwards as well.
Wow.
Yevan David able to hold on. Race control is another of Alex Young's jobs here, and he does a little show on Monday or Tuesday night where we look back at all the incidents. Maybe something for you to look up there. Best of the Porsches is Wei Xiong. Tagulo in P11, we're seeing Simke Wern behind him, sandwiched by Porsches either side. That is using the full extremities of this Zhuhai circuit.
Yeah, Kai Wern has lost a bit to the cars in front. Maybe he's made a mistake. Oh, Seb's going to look it down the inside. Not able to. But look at the Porsche in front. Oh, the car's pretty damaged. That must be affecting the handling. In the game, if you do damage a car like that, it will offset the steering. It pull to one side just like a real car.
Wei Xiong in the lovely livery of the grey and yellow Porsche. Is he able to hold on? Yes, the answer. As they come round this quick corner 14, Tagulo just tries to drop in behind him. Maybe take a little bit of the slipstream ahead of them. Battle royale going on between Hare and Yevan David. The Sri Lankan is making a terrific effort for this. There is David. Shahrazad Hassan behind them in P5.
Oh, I think he's just got past David.
Yeah, Hassan has got past David, indeed. What's happened to David? Because he was looking at P4, suddenly drops down to P6.
Yeah. Not sure he has quite the pace yet to stay with the leaders. He had a great first lap, managed to pick his way through all the troubles. So some of the faster cars, I think, now coming through the course of this race.
You are watching the E-Racing GP Global Edition. It's the amateur class, the GT4 racers. We are approaching 8.5 minutes to go, and Gilbert Ang has got himself quite a healthy lead here. A minute and a half clear of Akina Tio, and he himself is a further 2 seconds, a second and a half clear of Akina Tio. He himself is 2 seconds clear of Jay Cheong. A lot of racing going on further down the field, but I tell you what, Gilbert Ang has carried on last week's form beautifully.
Yes, he has. Talking about the action in the middle of the track. Oh, Garrido looking to the outside. Oh, that's weaving. Oh, James Russell getting a bit aggressive as they come to turn 9. Just going back and forth there. So we'll have to look at that after the race.
Garrido, has he got himself ahead of Russell? Not quite. Can't get himself alongside. Debutant James Russell does manage to hold on, but Garrido maybe got the inside line. The answer is no. Russell holds on and then uses the full width of the circuit, but the slipstream favours Garrido. He might have a look on the outside. Russell defends. Garrido comes, tries to go on the inside. This is corner number 1. Russell again defends well. Garrido gets through on the inside. Camel Ralph is also there as well. This is the battle for PH. Joaquim Garrido and James Russell going nose to nose, and Russell is holding on. Terrific driving by the debutant.
Oh, down
and then he loses it. Oh, and then Garrido loses it, and Russell can hold on.
Wow, that was good racing there. James Russell just managed to hold on, the debutant from Malaysia. Garrido, though, he slipped way back. Kai Wern's now going to have a look at him. Can't go around the outside there. See if he can go down the inside into the hairpin. Tries to make the move. No, decides to back out of it. Let's see if we can get him for this next corner.
Sim K. Wern in the Porsche, in the blue Porsche, all over the back axle of Joaquim Garrido. The Filipino feeling the pressure. He was a little bit too aggressive, and he's feeling the cost of that now. K. Wern under pressure. Graham's made a good move right behind Nazir Asman, and Graham having a really good battle. Here is Nazir Asman. Graham just behind him. Sim K. Wern in the smaller Porsche, but bags of power in that. In the dark is Nazir Asman in the black colour. As once again, Sim K. Wern has a look around the outside. Nazir can't get close enough onto the tail of Sim K. Wern. 12th position for Nazir in the BMW.
Yeah. So Gilbert Ang led this race from start to finish. A really good job by the young Malaysian. Let's pick it up as he starts his last lap.
Really has been a sensational performance from Gilbert Ang. Back-to-back weekends now. Akina Tio tried to stay close to him in the early stages. Gilbert was under a certain amount of pressure, but Alex Young, Gilbert has really come on strong in this GT4 series. Last weekend we thought, hey, he did well. This weekend it proves he's not a flash in the pan.
Absolutely, and don't forget that last weekend they were in the touring cars, so when he was in the GT4 cars in round 2, we saw he was struggling a bit, so there was a question mark about whether he could bring that form to the GT4 cars, but I think he's proven quite clearly that he has.
It's a bit of a procession. We have not seen this kind of a margin of victory in the GT4. It's normally so much more close, but Gilbert Ang is blowing this field apart. Zhuhai is his own personal playground. Look at this, the line he's taking. It's just about perfect. Beyond him, Tio has gone off the racing circuit, but Gilbert Ang, he's like a train on tracks.
Absolutely, good job by that. Kino Tio in second position looked like he could really take the fight at the very beginning of the race. He was sticking on the coattails of Gilbert for the first few laps, but Gilbert was just so consistent and he was able to eke out a gap, whereas Aquino was not able to follow the pace.
On to the final corner. It has been almost a victory circuit for Gilbert Ang in splendid isolation. He crosses the line in first place. Akina Chio takes his best position in second place. And Jae Chong gets onto the podium. Great result for Jae Chong. Behind them, young Shakir will be in P4 and a debut performance in P5 as well. But this story, Alex Young, is all about the man in orange. The man in orange, he says go. And Gilbert Ang, back-to-back big weekends. James Russell on the first row of the grid alongside Henry Coe. Russell in the orange. Henry Coe gets off to a decent start. Behind him there's a lot of big movement, but it's Henry Coe. Singaporean has made a flying star. Russell just tucks in beside him. Couple of drivers at the back hit the wall, and look at that. Simke Wern has made a half decent start, has got himself up into P8 or maybe P9, but it's Henry Coe who's got off to a blistering start, Alex Young.
Yes, and absolutely right behind him. Who is that? That's Wei Seong in third position. John Flynn is there. They're all lining up behind the second to third position car.
Yeah, John Flynn in the yellow and blue moves into P4. Simke Wern, who is the championship leader coming into this series, he's in that middle pack, but that's a really, really respectable start made by Simke Wern. But Henry Coe, we have not seen this kind of blistering pace before. Behind, it is absolute chaos. Drivers are going off onto the grass, off the side of the track. It's a big track this, it's a driver's track, but too many drivers are trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Flynn goes around the outside.
Wei Seong also had a good move to get into second position from Detroit at turn 7. You can see there the Porsche in second position in front of the Lotus in third position.
That's Wei Seong in the grey, and Dutoit, the Vietnamese, he's lost a place there. Flynn wants it again, he comes in. Simke Wern is also in that battle there. Flynn tries to go around the outside, but I tell you what, this start is all about Henry Coe.
Yeah, very good job by Henry Coe, but look at that. Simke Wern made a great first lap. He's overtaken 3 cars in this first lap alone, and he's now up to 4th position.
And we come into P2. Flynn has got himself up into P5. But K Worm, wow, you know what? He was right in the middle of that pack. He has made the move. Wei Seong is overtaken once again. That's really good stuff. But this is the championship leader. And you know what? Even though Henry Coe made that sensational start, Alex Young, Sim Wei Kern has got him in his sights.
So Wei Seong's going to try and make another move on Detroit as they come out of turn 6, 5 and 6. Coming for turn 7. This is the way he overtook earlier on, and he does. He goes down the inside. He's not close enough. Decides to pull out of the move. And now he's going, whoa, a spin by the Lotus.
Dutoit really had too much pressure on him there. Looked like he got it right, and then he spun the back end around. That means Henry Coe is in isolation, but the racers are getting closer. Look at this. Simke Wern goes on the inside. Simke Wern, he's bullied his way through into P2, and the championship leader has come from the middle of the pack and has got himself now with Henry Coe in his sights. Wei Seong in P3, and Johnny Flynn is making a move as well.
Wow, it's really getting tight out there. So, whoa, the 2 BMWs come together right behind the 2 Porsches. So Wei Seong in second position. Can he catch the leader? Can he catch Henry Coe and overtake to win his first race? He may be leading the championship, but it's through consistency because he's not won a race yet this year.
Joaquim Garrido's made a move through there as well as Sim goes through. Wei Seong is there. Garrido's got himself up into P4 ahead of Johnny Flynn. I can also tell you that Gilbert Ang is making a big move as well. So, Sim, can he get Henry Coe? Henry has got such a big lead. Yivan David under real pressure, and Gilbert Ang, who had a sensational first race, is making his way through. Gilbert Ang puts pressure on the all-orange livery. Wow, where is he now? He's in P8. You just saw a little slash of light there. Gilbert Ang comes round corner number 14. He's got terrific straight line speed. Yevan under pressure. So Sim goes through in P2. Flynn through in 4. Joaquim Garrido in 3. Here comes Gilbert Ang. Tries to have a look on the first corner, and he's gone past 1. Can he go past 2? Oh, that's a big mistake there. Garrido holds on. Flynn's now in P3, Garrido in 4, but Gilbert Ang is making his move, Alex Young.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was Matthew Graham spinning at turn 1. So now look at this. We got Gilbert Ang all over the back of Ivan David. He's going to try and make his position, but you can see that Gilbert's car is damaged. He's obviously taken some damage in that first couple of laps, and that's going to affect his handling for sure.
But he is really close, and he's looking on the inside. He might just have the perfect line. Gilbert Ang, yeah, that's the way to show who is boss. I won race number 1. I am chasing a top 5 place in race number 2. Enrico coming under increasing pressure. Simke Wern has a look on the outside, darts through on the inside. Enrico is very aware. Simke Wern is right in his tail. Now then, he's got the slipstream, moves out of the slipstream, has a look on the inside. Simke Wern, championship leader, now race leader.
Nice move down the inside, and he's on the inside for turn 10. Yes, that's it. The move is made, although he got a sideways. So Henry's coming back at him. Henry's taken back the lead.
Terrific from Enrico. That's good resilience there, because Simke Wern thought he'd done enough, but Simke Wern, remember at one stage the difference between these guys was over 4.5 seconds. Simke Wern, it's down to 0.045 of a second now, as Enrico has to be aware of Simke Wern right on his back tail. They come round now. Corner number 14. Slingshot through into the home straight. Simke Wern right on the tail of Enrico. He's had one look at him. Will he have a look at him down the main straight, Alex Young?
Absolutely. It's not quite close enough. And at the back, you see Johnny Flynn trying to take third position from Garrido. But we are focusing on the fight for first position. Simke Wern, he's just... gets good exit out turn 1. He might be close enough by the time they break for turn 4.
So the orange livery there of Gilbert Ang going through. I think a race double will be beyond him. He's a good 4.5 seconds behind, but Enrico seemed to lose the back end. Once again, he is under intense pressure. Simke Wern, this is where he overtook him in the previous lap. He's been under a pressure for a full lap. K Wern on the right-hander. Can he cope with this pressure?
K1's got a good exit again. I think he's going to have a look down the inside of the first left-hander here, which is turn 9. Oh, Henry covering the inside. But will K1 try? Yes, he does. He goes for the gap. The gap is there. He's on the inside. Will there be contact? No. Henry managed to go around the outside to hold the position.
This is proving to be a terrific battle between a racer we've not really mentioned too much in this series. Enrico is holding on for grim death. You can see that the animation suggests he's all about looking forward. I tell you, in the sim, Enrico is very aware that Sim Wakern is right on his back wheel. Gilbert Ang is closing up as well. Leads into corner 14. Simke Wern, what can he do here? Slingshots round again. Got the inside line, but hasn't got the straight line speed. This is a race that is going on over the last couple of laps. Meantime, Johnny Flynn and Garrido going nose to nose for the battle for P3. Terrific racing, Alex Young.
Yes, he didn't quite make the move. Garrido holds on to third position, but this is the battle right now. K1 has closed the gap. He did not get a good exit out of the last corner. Had a small moment at the apex. Didn't use all the road. So that's why Henry's pulled out a bit of a gap. But this is the part, the second sector of the track. The middle sector is where the Porsche of K1 seems to be a bit stronger.
Yeah, the Porsches do seem to have that just little bit of extra propulsion. The BMW of Henry is still holding on. Mind you, while these two are racing, Garrido has got a little bit closer. K Wern once again has a look around the outside. Where is he getting this speed from, and where is his best overtaking opportunity, Alex Young?
Well, normally here he's had a couple looks here. He's third time lucky. Will he make it happen? Yes, I think he's got it done. Now he's got to be careful through turn 10. 2 laps ago he had a moment through here and lost the lead again. This time he gets it done.
This time, Kim Se Wern Sim K1 makes it through to P1. Henrico battles back, but Henrico now has to be aware that he is under pressure for his place in P2.
Yeah, we've got the two BMWs right behind him, Garrido and of course Flynn. And of course, let's not forget the orange car in the distance, Gilbert, who won the first race. Do you think he can get on the podium even?
Well, it's going to be a big ask, but it's Sim who comes through. Right behind him, he has got once again Henrico. Sim is there. They are coming into the final few kilometers of this race. Final few minutes now. We are on the final lap, and Sim K1 is the man who is leading. So Henrico has done brilliantly to hold on to the back of Sim K1 and hold off Joaquim Garrido. Flynn is pressurising Garrido, and Ang has got closer and closer and closer. But at the end, it's going to be the championship leader, Sim K1, who picks up maximum points. Sim K1 takes P1. Great effort from Ko to take 2. Garrido holds on for 3 ahead of Flynn and Ang. That was some race. So Sim K1 redeemed himself just about after a dreadful first race by his standards, coming back to take the second in the reverse grid. And that actually proves just how invaluable it is to take the reverse grid race really, really seriously.
Absolutely. But I tell you what, the pressure was there to take that reverse grid race win, as you said. And he did it. So he's still got quite a big lead in the championship. Sim K1 is winning at the moment. But look at that. Gilbert has definitely closed the gap from first to second. And it still looks like there's a bit of a big gap between the two of them. But I tell you what, once the drop rounds come into play, I think Gilbert's going to be very close to Sim K1.
It's also worth mentioning the likes of Shahrazad Hassan. It's not just about the winners. Those who are competing regularly are picking up points. And if you come in the top 3 of this kind of a championship over 6 rounds, 12 races, it really is worth it. So Shahrazad's still in with the shouters, the best of the rest. But it does look like it's between Sim K1 and Gilbert Ang. We'll be back with you on the e-racing GP Southeast Asia Global Edition next weekend. We're on air from 2 o'clock Hong Kong and Kuala Lumpur time.